You know that old saying, what goes around comes around? Well, turns out nature takes that really seriously. I learned that the hard way. Growing up, I didn't want to be like other druids, hugging trees, talking to deer, singing to mushrooms or whatever. So I did the opposite. Took what I wanted, killed what I didn't. And let's just say, nature noticed. You have defiled the balance, you will pay the price. These words haunt my soul every single day. And pay the price I did. Let's just say it makes druid life, well, mandatory now. I can't touch meat, can't harm animals, and if I so much as pluck the wrong flower, I break out in rashes that make poison ivy look like a minor inconvenience. But there's a way out. 16 items. 16 impossible items to find. Stupidly specific items that will lift the curse. And guess who's stuck collecting them? I might not be the druid the forest wanted, but I'm the druid it stuck with. And why? Just because I look good and green? So here's the plan. Find the items, break the curse, and maybe not tick off any more shadowy figures lurking in the woods. No promises on that one though. Druid Briar has been hard at work, training and gathering the sacred items needed to appease his druid brethren and hopefully convince them to stop calling him nature's worst mistake. His journey began humbly, pickpocketing farmers to gather the seeds needed to grow his own potatoes, a crucial first step in embracing a self-sufficient vegan lifestyle. Sure, the farmers weren't thrilled about his borrowing, but Briar figured it was fine as long as he called it foraging. From there, he dabbled in the ancient art of runecrafting, forging a deeper connection with nature, trying not to trip over his robes while chiseling essence into nature runes. Still, it was the first of many steps toward atoning for his past, and toward figuring out why druids ever thought long robes were a good idea for adventuring. As his strength grew, Briar ventured into the wilderness, braving dangers like ravenous bears, aggressive skeletons, and the existential dread of realizing he forgot his teleport runes. There he faced the Chaos Druids in battle, stealing their herbs and recipes while muttering, "Should have shared the wisdom sooner, Brenda." Through their defeat, he began honing his herb lore skills, learning the fine art of mixing potions, and the even finer art of not drinking them by accident. But Briar's most dangerous challenge came when he traveled to the far lands of Karend to assist the Order of the Sacred Flame. There he faced the relentless Wintertot, a fierce winter storm with the personality of a particularly irritable refrigerator. Tragically, Wintertot claimed his life after one too many missteps on ice, teaching Briar the age-old lesson, never underestimate hypothermia. Yet by the grace of the gods, or maybe just their pity, Briar was revived, his spirit unbroken, albeit slightly frostbitten. Fueled by renewed determination and a newfound respect for thermal underwear, Briar returned to the Wintertot to prove his resilience. Through sheer grit, questionable strategy, and yelling, "Take that, snowstorm!" at inappropriate moments, he emerged victorious, securing not only the Tome of Fire, but also the Dragon Axe, gifted by the citizens of Karend. They said it was a symbol of his triumph. Briar suspected they just wanted him to stop chopping wood with his bare hands. In the aftermath of this challenge, Briar felt an unexpected joy in the aid he had given to the people of Karend. For the first time, he began to sense a deeper calling, one that extended beyond his druidic penance. Perhaps he wasn't just a cursed druid with a knack for upsetting ecosystems. Maybe, just maybe, he was a guardian of nature and its people. Of course, first he'd have to finish gathering those 16 cursed items, but for now, he was pretty sure the trees were rooting for him. While Druid Briar was deeply immersed in his herblore grind, because what's life without a few potions, he overheard a rumor about a hidden village deep in the jungle. This village, supposedly home to herblore masters, piqued his interest. So like any self-respecting druid chasing the green, he packed his bags and set off on a journey. It wasn't an easy trek. Briar stumbled through a jungle teeming with poisonous spiders, aggressive snakes, and let's just say some unique locals who were a bit too comfortable with their loincloth choices. After what felt like an eternity swatting mosquitoes and dodging fangs, he arrived at the fabled village of Taibo Wanai. Taibo what now? Briar muttered under his breath. This place was already testing his patience. He sought out his village shaman, Trufidus, a man with a name that sounded more like a sneeze than a person. After a few awkward attempts at pronunciation, Turfidus, whatever, Briar got to the point. Trufidus, wise and mysterious, agreed to share some herblore wisdom, but on one condition. Briar would have to gather herbs for a ritual to contact the spirits of Karamja. It's a small favor, Trufidus claimed, with a glint in his eye that screamed, "You're gonna regret this." Armed with determination and questionable jungle navigation skills, Briar set off to find the herbs. Snakeweed, Ardrugal, Ceto foil, Valencia moss, and Rogue's purse. After a lot of sweating, muttering, and nearly becoming snake food, Briar returned victorious with all the ingredients. True to his word, Trufidus shared his herblore secrets with Briar, who left Taibo Wanai a little wiser, a little smellier, and with a newfound respect for jungle life. After helping out Trufidus and soaking up some herblore knowledge, and more than a few mosquito bites, Briar figured it was high time to hit a bar and unwind. A little jungle adventure deserved a celebratory drink, right? Asking around, he learned there was a bar up in Brimhaven, just a short jaunt north of Taibo Wanai. With visions of frothy mugs and maybe a snack or two, Briar set off. As he strolled past what seemed to be a restaurant, or perhaps a particularly ambitious hut, he heard a voice yelling for help. Someone was pleading for assistance with a stolen artifact. Naturally, Briar's curiosity got the better of him. Also, his bar detour could wait. Stepping inside, he came face to face with the frantic man in need. "The name's Kengai Mao," the man said, his tone urgent. Briar blinked. "Kengai what now?" he muttered under his breath. First Trufidus, now this guy. Was there a jungle name generator around here that he'd missed? Still, Briar figured he'd just call him Kang and move on. Kang explained that his precious tribal totem had been stolen, and he desperately needed someone to retrieve it. Sensing an opportunity to play hero and delay his drink just a little longer, Briar accepted the task. Thus began the world's most adequate detective work. Briar scoured the area with the sharpness of a butter knife, asking questions, poking around suspicious corners, and at one point interrogating a chicken. Don't ask. After some missteps and a bit of luck, he eventually tracked down the stolen totem. Triumphant, Briar returned to Kengai Mao, who was overjoyed to see his prized artifact again. With a quick "you're welcome," Briar headed off to finally claim that drink. Though by now, he probably deserved to. After what was probably way too many drinks at the bar, Briar reached a state we like to call enthusiastically toasted. He wasn't just drunk, he was the kind of drunk that makes me, the narrator, feel like I've had a few too many. Now here's the thing about Briar. When he's 3 sheets to the wind, he becomes very, let's say, suggestible. One of his favorite pastimes? Taking dares from complete strangers. Tonight's dare, however, took things to a new level. "Bet you won't join a cult?" one patron slurred. "Watch me," Briar replied with all the confidence of someone who forgot he was supposed to stop at just 1 pint. And so, fueled by bravado and bad decisions, Briar began his new life mission: find a cult. He stumbled around asking people things like, "Hey, you know where I can sign up for, cult stuff?" Miraculously, someone didn't call the authorities and instead pointed him towards rumors of a secretive group near southern Ardoyne. Swaying slightly but still determined, Briar made his way there. His investigation eventually led him to a man named Cyril, who looked both concerned and mildly annoyed. Cyril explained that his family's prized armor had been stolen, and he suspected it was taken by none other than the notorious Haziel cult. For Briar, this was like hitting the jackpot. A way into the cult and a chance to play detective again? Count me in. After some running around, snooping, and the occasional accidental breaking and entering, Briar finally managed to get on the Haziel cult's good side. It was right around this time that the buzz started wearing off, and sober Briar came to a stark realization. What the hell am I doing joining a cult? But hey, a dare's a dare, and if nothing else, Briar now had a fun story to share over his next round at the bar. Now that Briar has fully sobered up, and possibly cringed his way through flashbacks of drunken cult initiation attempts, he remembered his real goal, restoring his reputation in his clan. It was time to get serious. Taking stock of his possessions, Briar realized he had just enough herbs to finally push his herblore skills to the next level, cleaning a Renar weed. A monumental step for any budding herblore enthusiast. But there was one sticky obstacle standing in his way. Swamp tar. Without access to Eye of Newt, because vegetarian restrictions, Briar needed an alternative to training his herblore. Enter Guamtar. A solution as brilliant as it was labor-intensive, and by labor-intensive, I mean mind-numbingly tedious. Determined, Briar trudged off to Lumbridge Swamp, where he would spend what felt like an eternity knee-deep in thick, smelly, knee-high sludge. This has to count as cardio, he muttered, scooping handful after handful of sticky tar, each glob added to his growing collection, which was quickly outpacing his patience. Who knew mastering potions would require this much swamp wading? He grumbled to himself as a leech slithered a little too close for comfort. But despite the smell, the mud, and the unshakable sense that the swamp might actually be sentient and judging him, Briar pushed on, all for the sake of herblore mastery. One day he would look back on this moment, likely while downing a strength potion, and say, worth it. Now that Briar has effectively become one with the swamp, his entire body covered in muck and reeking of death, decay, and questionable life choices, he finally has enough swamp tar to take the next step in his herblore journey. Armed with knowledge, determination, and let's face it, a healthy dose of madness, Briar set about cleaning his first Renar weed. Why? To appease his clan and tick off that elusive third item on his mission list. As the grime-covered druid carefully cleaned the Renar, a glint of pride appeared in his eye. Or maybe it was swamp water. Hard to say at this point. Either way, Briar had done it. Now you might be wondering, what's next for Druid Briar? If you ask Briar, the answer is obvious. Celebrate with a drink at the bar. But here's the thing. I'm the narrator. And Briar doesn't get to call the shots. Instead, he's heading straight to the mage training arena. Why? Because the path of a true legend involves trials, tribulations, and a whole lot of spellcasting frustration. Briar now faces his next challenge, proving himself worthy of wielding the Infinity Boots. So off he goes, swapping swamp sludge for wizard robes, and preparing himself for a grind so long it can make even the most patient mage consider a career change. Good luck, Briar. You're going to need it. It may be a stiff drink when you're done. And that's a wrap for this episode of Druid Briar, a tale of roots and ruin. Briar has somehow managed to collect 3 of the cursed items he needs to break his druidic hex, which means there are only 13 left to go. At this rate, he'll be free in, a few decades maybe? Don't worry, Briar. Nothing motivates like impending doom. If you enjoyed watching Briar stumble his way through another chaotic adventure, because who doesn't love a good swamp-covered, cult-joining, potion-mixing hero? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You wouldn't want to miss the next episode, right? A lot of effort went into this one, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this theatrical style of video, let me know, and I'll keep rolling with it. But don't worry, if this isn't your thing, I plan to continue the regular style of videos as well, so there's something for everyone. And hey, if you really enjoyed this, consider sharing it with a friend, or even an enemy. Briar's antics are universally entertaining. The more people we can get to witness his glorious misadventures, the better. Thanks in advance for your support, and as always, stay tuned for more, because Briar's still out there, Probably knee deep in something questionable.